Hagerstown Speedway, and we're just about set to get the green flag off turn number 4. We'll watch our starter, Ross Gordon. He waves the green. Boy, he brings the green out late. We got trouble in turn 4.
We've got 4 cars getting together. Horndusky along with Tommy Myers, Lynn Geisler, Ernie Davis, and the 79 of Brad Malcutt all getting together here. Looks like Myers has got a flat. He's going to come to a stop.
Trouble off turn 4, and we're back under yellow. We'll be back with yet another restart. Okay, we're back in here at the Hagerstown Speedway. Green flag back on the Speedway as we watch Buddy Armo in the 1VP take him through turns 1 and 2.
Well, a tough break for Al Richards. He dropped right to the rear of the field on this start. Al Richards, who had been running right up front the whole race, now dropping back to the back. Tough break up front. Here comes Faree. He's challenging Armo for the lead.
Ed Faree is for real here at the Hagerstown Speedway as they come off turn number 4. White flag waves on your leader, Buddy Armo.
Faree a little aggressive up here in turn 4, and he got out of shape, lost a spot to John Mason. Mason now moves into second, and he sets his sights on your leader, Buddy Armo. Let's see if Mason can make a last lap pass.
We'll watch them as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. Coming down now for the checkered flag. Starter Ross Gordon has it in his hand. It's going to be Buddy Armo.
Armo picks up the win. John Mason will qualify second. Ed Faree will take third. Lynn Geisler will qualify fourth. And your final qualifier will be Ernie Davis in the Ernie Salvage Yard number 25.
And we'll be back with yet another qualifying heat race, for this time for the limited late models, right after this. Okay, we're back in here at the beautiful Hagerstown Speedway after some major technical difficulties here this afternoon. We had a couple of power outages, and we're hopefully going to bring you the complete Stanley Sheetroff Memorial here this afternoon at the Hagerstown Speedway. It'll be going 75 laps. From what I understand, they will be stopping at the 35 lap mark, Ken, and they'll be taking on fuel to go the remaining 35 laps. We'll get down over the starting lineup. We have 30 starters in today's field, and we'll start it off with the number 88 out of Blaine, Pennsylvania, Jeff Smith, and alongside him, the 00, Freddie Smith, no relation there, Ken.
Row 2 inside, starting third in the 40 will be Tom Peck, and right beside him in the 4th spot, one of the heat winners today in the 5, Denny Bonebrake.
Making up the 3rd row inside in that 5th starting spot will be the number 72 of Racing John Mason, and alongside him in the Speedy Hayes, number 44, last week's feature winner here at Hagerstown, Gary Stuhler.
Row number 4, inside 7th starting spot, another heat winner here this afternoon, the 1VP of Buddy Armo, and starting 8th, the veteran. He also won a heat, Charlie Weirman in car 65.
5th row inside in that 9th starting position, in the number 33 out of Lost Creek, West Virginia, will be Rodney Franklin, and alongside him in the number 19 will be Dale Beitler.
Moving back to row number 6, inside 11th starting spot, a former winner of this race in the 14, Larry Moore, and starting 12th in car 4, Ed Faree.
Starting 13th, 7th row inside in the number 34 will be Rick Workman, and alongside him in the number 79, starting in that 14th starting position will be Paul Crow.
Back in row 8, inside 15th starting spot in the 95 will be Les Herron. Right beside him, starting 16th on the outside of row 8 in the 1C, Lynn Geisler.
9th row inside in that 17th starting position in the number 1B will be Frank Fleming, and alongside him in the number 98 will be Bobby Croup.
Making up the 10th row inside, 19th starting spot in car 66 will be Al Shaver, and beside him in the Ernie Salvage Yard number 25, Ernie Davis.
Dropping back to row number 11 now, starting in that 21st starting spot, your consolation event winner, the number 3 of Jeff Robinson, and alongside him in the number 31, also out of Lost Creek, West Virginia, will be Denny Chamberlain.
Moving back to row number 12 on the inside, and 23rd starting spot will be car number 79 of Brad Malcutt, and right beside him will be the 00 of Booper Bear.
Making up the next row back, starting in that 26th starting position. I'm checking the lineup here. The 26th starting spot anyway is the number 12 of Charlie Schaefer, and alongside him, or rather inside of him, alongside him in the 27th spot will be Will Rao.
A couple of changes there. A couple of guys moving up. Tom Myers will start next in car number 55. Myers actually will start 27th, and starting 28th will be the 75 of Dave Hill. Your last two starters would be the 70 of Alan Saggy, and added to the field starting 30th and scratch in car number 6, Dale Kerstetter. We understand that Al Richards had qualified for the event, but like Jeff Smith, when he went to the scales after the consolation event, the number 4 of Al Richards was disqualified. So for the second week in a row, we have a car disqualified from the consolation and not in the feature event.
Super tough break, you know, to be disqualified for this Stanley Sheetroff Memorial race. Ken, the winner will get $3,500 here this afternoon. But I'll tell you what, Hagerstown Speedway does not allow very much leadway on their rules. They're very rigid about the rules here at Hagerstown. And you can be really disqualified here at Hagerstown for an inch or two on the body, wrong rubber compound on the tire. I mean, they are very careful about the rules here at Hagerstown.
When I was down in the pit area earlier today and I was walking around, I did some interviews, I was down with Don Lutz, and he was actually trimming the sheet metal off the back of that number 75 car. We may have a shot of that for you. They were actually trimming some sheet metal off of the 75 earlier this afternoon.
And when I was down in the Jeff Smith pits a little bit earlier also today, Ken, they were doing the exact same thing to the front end on their car, right where the side plastic, I guess it's plastic, meets the hood. They also had some excess plastic there that they were trimming off, so they are really very rigid on the rules here at Hagerstown, and rightfully so, Ken. They have the rules. The Hagerstown regulars, I'm sure, are pretty much comply to those rules, and they want these invaders to also comply.
And that's one of the things I talked to Don Lutz about, you know, whether the rules are that much different here at Hagerstown. He says really they're not that much different than they are at Selinsgrove. So the guys, when they go there in the next couple of weeks, are going to have to get their cars straightened out. Maybe they just don't enforce them as much at Selinsgrove.
I think that's probably it, Ken. I don't think they're quite as particular about the rules at some of these other racetracks here at Hagerstown, and it is the paragon of late model racing here at the Hagerstown Speedway, and they make them follow right to the letter, really, on the rule book.
And like some of the guys said, this is one of the toughest weekly tracks to come in and run on a special race like this. When you come in here, if you're an outsider, like we got a bunch of them here today, they don't necessarily know that they're going to come in here and win because they got some tough regulars to run against.
That's for sure. If you were to compare late model racing to sprint car, this would be the Williams Grove Speedway on the late model circuit, that's for sure.
Well, right now the field is set. Jeff Smith is in the front row, and right beside him we've got Freddie Smith. So it's a pair of Smiths in the front row for the big 75-lap championship test.
Well, Ken, if you were to pick a winner out of this star-studded field here this afternoon, who would you have to go with? If we can speculate here a little bit, can Jeff Smith pull it off from his pole position? He has the best opportunity to win here today.
Well, right beside him is, as I said, Freddie Smith. Those two drivers certainly have a chance. If I had to pick somebody out of here, you know, Rodney Franklin always seems to be around. He's sort of like a Steve Kinzer or a Doug Wolfgang in late model racing. When the big money's there, watch out because Rodney Franklin's going to be around.
That's for sure. Right now, the field has assembled behind the beautiful Hagerstown Speedway pace car, and we'll be back with the waving of the green flag. Okay, we're back in here at the Hagerstown Speedway. I'd like to correct myself, if I may. I said 35 laps, then a fuel stop, then the other 35. Actually, it's 35, then a fuel stop, and then the remaining 40. So we've got 75 laps coming up. Green flag all the way. Here they come off turn number 4. Starter Ross Gordon waves the green. We're underway, Ken.
And it's going to be Freddie Smith from his outside front row spot who's going to take him into turn number 1. Jeff Smith will settle into second. The rest of them are up in the air as they head between turns 1 and 2 and on down the backstretch.
They come off at backstretch, so in the middle of the backstretch, we got trouble.
And we've got Les Hare in the 95 car, and now Charlie Schaefer spinning out back there. Les Hare really took on some front-end damage in the 95. Charlie Schaefer sitting in the wrong direction back there. Everyone else able to get through, but Les was up in the front of the pack, and Charlie Schaefer avoided him. Looks like Les is going to be the only car. Another Stewartstown driver, Charlie Weirman in the 65. So two drivers from Stewartstown come out of that one in the worst shape. Les Hare sits on the backstretch, and Charlie Weirman's in the pit area.
Tough break for Les Hare as he got in. Actually, he got sandwiched in between a couple of cars. He was on the outside, Ken, and he really just got shoved into the fence. No other way about it. He had nothing that he could do, and the result is he'll go to the rear of this field already, and it's a long, long road to go now from the back of this field, Ken.
And the result of that is we'll have a complete restart, so we'll realign them with Jeff Smith and Freddie Smith back in row 1 and have a complete restart.
Well, we're back in here at the Hagerstown Speedway. Les Hare on the hook, headed back to the pit area. The rest of the field over on the backstretch. Ken, we're going back to Green Flag Racing here at Hagerstown. We still have 75 laps to go.
They're busy working down in the Malcott pit area trying to get him back out. Let's see what happens. Green waves once again.
Denny Bonebrake moves up in front of Jeff Smith and slides into that second spot as they go through turns 1 and 2. Our leader is going to be Freddie Smith as they come off turn 2 and down the backstretch.
Freddie Smith up from North Carolina to race here at the Hagerstown Speedway this afternoon. He's got a long way to go. He's going to lead lap 1, but we still got 74 to race.
Gary Stuhler working the inside of Buddy Armour as they come off turn number 4. Now Stuhler trying to move into that 4th spot. We got Tom Peck, Rodney Franklin, and the number 14 of Larry Moore all ready to move up, Ken.
Back in the pack, there's a lot of dicing going on, but up front, it's your leader, Freddie Smith. Denny Bonebrake, who was very impressive winning his heat race, is starting to close.
Freddie Smith, Denny Bonebrake, and Jeff Smith have begun to outdistance this field now as they come off turn number 4. Let's see if these 3 cars can actually run away from the rest of the field.
There's a big gap back to the 44 of Gary Stuhler, who runs in the 4th spot. Buddy Armour, Rodney Franklin are dicing it out for the 5th spot, and now Rodney moves up 1.
Right there's Rodney Franklin on your screen. Now the camera wide angles will pick him up off of turn number 4. It's still Freddie Smith in the 00, followed closely now by the number 5 of Denny Bonebrake.
Bonebrake starting to put the pressure now on the 00 of Freddie Smith at the front of this pack. Jeff Smith is a steady 3rd, and there's a gap back to Gary Stuhler, who continues to run 4th. Buddy Armour, just a little bit further back, is starting to drop back through the pack.
We're coming around now to complete lap number 5 in this 75-lap contest. Your leader continues to be Freddie Smith. Denny Bonebrake runs 2nd, Jeff Smith 3rd. Then it's the number 44 of Gary Stuhler, followed by the 33 of Rodney Franklin, the 40 of Tom Peck, the 14 of Larry Moore, and the 1 of Buddy Armour.
Right there is Buddy Armour on your screen, and you can see he is dropping back as Moore just got around him. Up front, we still got a 2-car battle for the lead with Freddie Smith hanging on.
Jeff Smith is riding all alone in that 3rd spot. He has a pretty good lead over the number 44 of Gary Stuhler now. Smith is not really having any problem getting around this Hagerstown Speedway. He looks really smooth out there, Ken.
Right now, Jeff is not gaining on the first 2 cars, but he's not losing any ground to the cars behind him. He's just running a steady 3rd as they work on lap number 7.
Well, they are probably thinking about that 35-lap fuel stop, Ken. Nobody wants to wear their car out in this first 35-lap segment. They're going to be looking to really put the pressure on in the second 40 laps.
One thing they're really going to have to think about, we got
four.
trouble up here on turn 4. I was just going to say one thing they were going to have to think about in a hurry was lap traffic, but that'll solve that problem as your leaders were just about ready to catch the back of the pack, trying to pick up a number on the car. Looks like it could be Alan Saggy in the 70. We'll wait and see as the car turns around here and try and pick up the number on the car, bringing out the first caution of the event.
Field now coming to a single file restart order now over on the backstretch. Here comes our car now that had spun in turn number 4. We'll pick up the number. It is
Alan Saggy in the Budweiser number 70R bringing out a caution flag. We had gone nonstop up until this point. Now we'll have to regroup and do it all over again. Freddie Smith, though, is very impressive up to this point.
Freddie Smith running a very intelligent race, and Denny Bonebrake has not really become very antsy in that 2nd position. He's just been following your leader, Freddie Smith, around this half-mile speedway. Jeff Smith was running all alone. He may get some pressure now on this restart. We'll be back with the waving of the green flag. Okay, we're back in here at the Hagerstown Speedway for the restart. We have around 13 laps complete. On your leader, Freddie Smith. We've got Denny Bonebrake in 2nd, Jeff Smith in 3rd, and then it's Gary Stuhler in the 44. Let's see what happens. Here comes Franklin on the inside of Stuhler.
Right now it's still Freddie Smith who continues to show the way. Freddie has stayed right there on the point since the drop of the green in this event. Denny Bonebrake right now continues to run 2nd. Jeff Smith again starts to pull away into a good position in 3rd with Gary Stuhler and Rodney Franklin running back. Frank Fleming's going to try to bring his 1 car back on the speedway. Here's your leaders off turn 4.
We continue to watch the rest of the field now as they exit turn number 4. Not much happening up front, Ken, as Freddie Smith continues to lead. the number 5 of that Bone Break into turn number 3. We'll pick them up. Right there they are on your screen, your 2 leaders.
Here comes Denny now, dropping down to the inside of Freddie Smith off the 4th turn. We've actually got a side-by-side battle. Freddie bobbled there for a second, and it nearly cost him. Now he regains that number 1 spot clearly as they work through 1 and 2.
Denny Bone Break making a serious challenge now as they head down the backstretch in that number 5. There we were watching the battle between Rodney Franklin and Gary Stuhler. Jeff Smith still runs all alone in that 3rd spot. We got a side-by-side battle for the lead.
Once again, Bone Break dropping to the inside off that 4th turn. Freddie Smith may be slowing, or else Denny may be getting a little bit more aggressive in the 5 car, because he's certainly going after Freddie right now.
He's got his front end right up along the rear quarter panel. Freddie Smith as they headed into turn number 3. Let's see what happens. Can Freddie Smith drive away as they come off turn 4?
Right now your top 7 cars are on the same straightaway. They're all right there together. As far back as Larry Moore, who runs 7th. They're right together, the top 7 cars. A little gap back to Buddy Armel, but right there we're looking at your top 7. We'll scan them back to the front and Freddie Smith.
Freddie Smith so far, Ken, has driven a flawless race. We got a position change as Stuhler has now moved up in front of Jeff Smith and taken over that 3rd spot.
Well, you don't have to bobble long, and Jeff Smith just bobbled momentarily and he lost 3rd, and right now he's in a battle for 4th. Jeff Smith running a good race right now, but hey, when you're in this kind of caliber of equipment, you can't make any mistakes, and right now Rodney Franklin's going after Jeff.
Jeff Smith's 4th place position very much in jeopardy now as we watch Rodney Franklin move up and takes over 4th. Jeff Smith has been relegated to 5th, and now Tom Peck's moving in.
Well,
Jeff Smith's beginning to go backwards here a little bit, Ken.
As I said, the top 7 were right together. Down here in the pit area, the 1 VP of Buddy Armel has just dropped out of the race. Armel, who was in the top 10, has dropped out.
Right there, you can
tough break for Buddy.
Right there, you see Armel on your screen as he heads to the pit area. It's all over for Buddy Armel.
That's a real tough break for Buddy, but up front we've got one great race going on for that number 1 spot. They're in turn 3. They've caught the back of the pack now. This time they'll deal with the lap traffic as it's right in front of them off the 4th turn.
And look at Gary Stuhler, Ken. He has moved right up on the rear bumper of Denny Bone Break as they head through turns 1 and 2. There goes Stuhler.
Stuhler trying the outside of Bone Break. Franklin's right there. This is really going to be some kind of racing right now. Going to be a little hard on these guys trying to weave their way. They've got lap traffic to deal with. Bone Break and Stuhler are side by side as they come through. Here's Franklin down on the inside.
And here comes Tom Peck now in the number 1 as he moves up. Tom Peck beginning to catch the front of this field now, Ken.
Peck and Jeff Smith aren't far behind. Here comes the number 5 car, Denny Bone Break, and we got caution. Caution on the front stretch.
Just as the number 5 of Bone Break got by Freddie Smith, the caution came out. What a reprieve. What a reprieve for Freddie Smith, Ken.
I'm telling you what, that was some super racing going on. That's the car number 98 of Will Rao with the 9 taped off, stopping here on the front stretch. A lot of the duplicate numbers here, they taped off the 1/2 of the number. That's actually Will Rao in car 98, number 8 for this event, stopping on the front stretch.
Well, we are in for a heck of a race here this afternoon, Ken, but you know that caution is going to eliminate some of the action that we were watching, as now they'll have to race the whole way around to catch up to the lap traffic again. That lap traffic was definitely bringing about some position changing on the speedway.
Without question, it was a matter of weaving your way through there. It looked for a minute like Stuhler might go by everybody. He got caught up, and then it worked out that Freddie Smith got through, and here comes Bone Break. Now we're going to do it with no lap traffic when we restart.
Well, we're back in here at the Hagerstown Speedway. We are not quite ready to go green flag as Denny Bone Break, your 2nd place man, has went to the pit area. What could be the problem there, Cam?
I really don't know, John. And right behind him, here comes Bobby Allen's number 55. I see the jack down here. They're getting ready to stop that car. He was starting to make a move in this race. He started way in the back. He's now in the pit area. So 2 of the top regulars here at Hagerstown are in the pit area right now. Al Shawver also ducked in before all the action.
It looks like they're going to change rubber on these cars, Ken. You know, if you're going to change tires, you're going to have to do it early. You can't wait until the second 40-lap segment.
Well, they did change rubber on the Bobby Allen number 55. Charlie Weirman coming through the pits, but they do have the hood off of the 5, the Bone Break number 5 with the hood up, the helmet off. That doesn't look good.
Could have lost oil pressure, or possibly the engine was heating up, but anyway, problems for the number 5 car, the Staub Brothers, number 5 of Denny Bone Break. He's out of the car. He got the helmet off, very dejectedly walks away from that car, and we'll be going back to green flag racing. That changes things a bit. And look at who's riding in that second spot now. We've got Gary Stuhler in the Speedy Hayes, number 44. Right behind him, Rodney Franklin. Then it's Jeff Smith and Tom Peck, the 14 of Larry Moore. So, hey, it's still, we've got some big guns sitting in the back of the pack yet, Ken.
A couple other cars coming back out of the pit area. Charlie Weirman, Al Shawver, Dale Kerstetter was in there. So a lot of guys pitting, but one gentleman who pitted and will not be back is Denny Bonebrake.
And right now, the number 98 of Will Rouse speeds away from his pit area. He'll be coming back out on the track along with the 66 of Al Shawver. And we'll watch for a green flag here momentarily. They're going to take another lap around, and we'll be back with the restart. Back here once again at the Hagerstown Speedway, and we'll give it another attempt here to see if we can get back under green. I'll tell you what, Ken, if I was an odds maker, I'd have to lay odds on that number 44 to be your winner here this afternoon.
He looks tough right now. Let's see what happens as we look for a green. Jeff Smith really gets a good start in the 88 car. Your starter, Ross Gordon, looks him over in the green wave.
Rodney Franklin now trying to move into that third spot as we're back under green flag racing here. Freddie Smith continues to lead the number 44 of Stuhler down the backstretch.
Right now it's Freddie Smith, Gary Stuhler, and then the 33 of Rodney Franklin. Jeff Smith runs fourth. Tom Peck completes your top 5 at this point.
We actually have a lap car among the leaders right now as they come down the front stretch, as we continue to watch the tail end of the field as they exit turn 4.
A lot of action the whole way around the speedway. And right now your leader is heading into turn number 3. That's the 00. He's been there since lap 1. Freddie Smith with a new challenger now, the 44 of Gary Stuhler.
Here they come now down the front stretch. I'm trying to figure out, Ken, whether or not Freddie Smith comes from North Carolina. I believe it's North Carolina, isn't it?
Yeah, a long trip in here this afternoon for Freddie, and right now he's got company. Gary Stuhler is posing a big threat up in turn 3.
He's seen the red and white of that number 44 now right alongside of him. That means get back on the gas pedal, and that's exactly what Freddie Smith is doing now. Could he be driving a conservative race, Ken, just trying to protect his lead?
Well, I don't know. He better not hold back too much because he's got company, and the 33 is not far behind. Rodney Franklin is also sticking his number 33 into the picture.
Turn number 1 and 2. We got a car spinning. It's the number 09 car, is it?
19 of Dale Beitler right there on your screen. And he's back underway now, but a caution comes out very quickly to once again slow the field.
We're back in here at the Hagerstown Speedway. I'm Johnny Strasser along with Ken Stahl. We've been calling this Stanley Sheetroff Memorial. The number 55 of Tom Myers ducking in the pit area quickly. He's back out on the track and the green flag waves.
Once again, we'll go back to a battle for the lead. It's been a good one the whole way. Freddie Smith has led every lap of this race, but he hasn't had breathing room for one of them. He's had Gary Stuhler on him the last 10 laps. Stuhler staying right there with Rodney Franklin, Jeff Smith, Larry Moore, and Tom Peck. Your top 6 still stay right in a group.
It's a high-speed freight train as they come off turn 4 and down past the flag stand and into turn number 1 now. Freddie Smith continues to lead. You got to wonder how far these cars are going to go in their tires, Ken. They have to be wearing the tires down as they're battling up front.
Right now, Rodney Franklin is actually going after Gary Stuhler, and right in front of them is Freddie Smith. They're almost 3 wide again off turn 4.
Jeff Smith continues to ride along in that 4th position as he's been able to maintain that spot. Actually, he's all alone out there. Let's see what happens now among your leaders as they head down the backstretch and into turn 3.
Once again, Freddie Smith has company. Gary Stuhler has come to the inside of him a couple of times, but Freddie's been able to hold the groove, and he does it once again off that 4th turn.
Freddie Smith has been the whole story here in this Stanley Sheetroff Memorial race so far. We got him 2 wide now coming off of turn number 2 for that 2nd position.
What a tight squeeze as Charlie Weirman came back on the speedway. Rodney Franklin's getting aggressive now into 33. He's going after the runner-up spot. He's got the inside line on Stuhler, and he's got it.
Rodney Franklin now, your new 2nd place man as they head into turn number 1. He'll set his sights on Freddie Smith in the 00 as they exit turn number 2 and head down the backstretch.
Well, if we're going to get a lead change, I think it's going to happen right now as Rodney Franklin seems to be applying himself into 33. He comes to the inside, and he's going to get the lead. Your new leader, Rodney Franklin.
Whoa, and Jeff Smith just went up in smoke A lot of smoke coming out of that car. I'd say that's an engine gone there in the number 88 of Jeff Smith.
You can see some oil, I do believe it is, on the inside of the Speedway. Well, we noticed the smoking a few laps ago. We thought it could be a problem. It turned out to be a major problem for Jeff Smith.
And the funny thing was, Ken, it did smoke earlier, as you say, but it wasn't smoking very heavily. All of a sudden, the whole engine just went up in smoke off of turn number 4 and ended what was a great drive by Jeff Smith. He was really protecting that 4th spot. He owned that 4th position at the time. Right now, it's all for naught as Jeff Smith rolls the 88 with no power under the hood into the pit area.
Right down here along the fence on the inside, you can see the Jeff Smith crew looking at the oil, I do believe it is, and I'm sure they're concerned because that was their motor that just went up in smoke.
Tough break for the Blaine Bullet Jeff Smith as he'll drop, and that'll move everybody from 4th spot up a position. Tom Peck, or rather Larry Moore, will take over his position now in the number 14. So the cream continues to rise to the top here in this Stanley Sheetroff Memorial here at the Hagerstown Speedway. We'll be back with the waving of the green flag. Okay, we're back in here at the Hagerstown Speedway, and we are not getting a yellow as they evidently have to make an adjustment in the alignment here. You can see Randy Grove up in turn number 4 as he's signaling to some of the drivers on back in the back of the pack right now, trying to get them straightened out. And we'll just stick right in here because I believe we should be getting a green flag off turn number 4.
The yellow lights are out now, and one thing you got to say, though, John, Jeff Smith certainly established himself here this afternoon, running right up front with all this talent. Jeff hanging right in there. He ran second in his heat race. He ran in the top 5 all afternoon. So Jeff Smith certainly made his presence felt here this afternoon at Hagerstown.
That's for sure, and I think it'll make them feel, it'll make that crew feel well enough that they'll be back here at Hagerstown.
Well, right now we're going to go green flag racing. 27 laps have been completed. Still a long way to go in this one. Rodney Franklin has now taken over the number 1 spot from Freddie Smith. Gary Stuhler will go after Freddie. Let's see what happens as they work their way down the backstretch.
You're looking at the 2nd place car on your screen right now. We'll pick up your leader off turn number 4, your new leader, with 27 laps complete, going for 28 now, Rodney Franklin.
And all of a sudden, Freddie Smith is starting to drop back into the pack a little bit. He has now lost that runner-up spot. Gary Stuhler takes over 2nd, so Freddie Smith led the first 26, and now he's all the way back to 3rd.
We're coming around now to complete lap number 28 with your leader, Rodney Franklin, in the number 33, and he's really beginning to streak away from the rest of this pack, Ken.
Franklin right now seems to have the field covered, but we still got more than half of this one to go. By no means is this one over. Larry Moore in car 14 now puts the challenge to Freddie Smith. Freddie Smith may have used a tire up in that 00. He led the early part of the race, but now he looks to be going backwards.
The 00 of Freddie Smith really getting high off of turn number 4. He brings the car back down into the groove again. Tom Peck has slipped by, and Lynn Geisler will be the next man, and Geisler tries to zero in on the 00 of Freddie Smith.
We were just looking at Larry Moore, who was running in the 3rd spot with Tom Peck right behind him. That's your closest battle right now on the Speedway. Rodney Franklin exiting turn number 2 has opened up about a half a straightaway lead.
Rodney Franklin would be wise to get conservative here now, Ken, because they're going to stop this field at the end of 35 laps, and all that lead that he built up will go away when they resume with 35 laps complete.
There's Rodney. He's really got the hammer down right now, holding nothing back. Franklin pulling away to a commanding lead. The battle shaping up on the Speedway appears to be for 2nd, as Larry Moore into 14 is starting to close on the 44 of Gary Stuhler.
Right now we've got our leader Rodney Franklin in some heavy lap traffic as they come down the front stretch. There you see Franklin as he shoots to the outside, gets by all 3 of those lap cars on the front stretch.
So Franklin now has 3 lap cars between himself and your 2nd place car. Gary Stuhler into 44. Larry Moore runs 3rd. Tom Peck right there is 4th. There's the interval between 3rd and 4th. That's the closest battle right now on the Speedway.
Tom Peck beginning to move up in the field now as he climbs up onto the rear bumper of the number 14 of Larry Moore as they come down the front stretch. Rodney Franklin is already exiting turn 2.
It's over for Bobby Croup. He just pulled into the pit area. There he goes on down into turn 1. So it's over for Bobby Croup here this afternoon. But at the front of the pack, Right now, the man to beat is the 33 of Rodney Franklin.
Franklin in turn number 1 now begins to encounter more lap traffic. We'll get the camera to swing around. We'll pick up Rodney Franklin. There he works his way by the number 55 car of Tom Myers and continues down the backstretch. Right now, Rodney Franklin has a full straightaway lead as Lynn Geisler pulls to the pit area.
Another one of your top named drivers has exited this race, the one of Lynn Geisler in the pit area and out of it. So a lot of cars dropping out. And Rodney Franklin right now seems to be hammering that car. I think he wants to lap as many cars as possible here in the first half of the race.
Well, that could be part of his game plan, Ken. Right now he's up on three more lap cars as they come off turn number 4. Will they let those lap cars in between himself and your second place man when we go back to green flag after the 35 lap stop?
I would think they would, and every car that he puts a lap down, he more or less knows that he's got covered for the rest of the afternoon. And right now, Rodney Franklin is really hammering that 33. He's got 6 lap cars right now between him and your second place car, Gary Stuhler.
Franklin goes into turn number 1. Stuhler comes out of turn number 4. Franklin has nearly a half a track now on your second place man, Gary Stuhler.
It's hard to believe that just a few laps ago we had a 3-4 car battle for the number 1 spot. Franklin just applied himself. You could see him start to move. He made the move. He took the lead, and all of a sudden he's got a half a track lead. Unbelievable surge by the 33 of Rodney Franklin.
Franklin now working on Alan Saggy as they head down the backstretch. He'll be putting Saggy a lap down, possibly here in turns 3 and 4. We'll keep the camera right here, and we'll watch. Rodney Franklin nearly got into the back end of Saggy. Here they come off turn number 4. Franklin's going to have to be careful out there, Ken.
I'll tell you, he's really driving hard. He does have that big lead, but he is not letting up at all in that 33 car. He continues to work his way through the pack, trying to lap this field in the first half of the segment. We're getting the red and the black right now from Ross Gordon, so that will end the first segment.
35 laps complete now on your leader, the number 33 of Rodney Franklin. So he'll have quite a few lap cars in between himself. He'll have Shover in the 66. And a lot of these lap cars are trying to, actually the second place running Gary Stuhler along with Larry Moore was actually trying to get around these lap cars, but it won't matter because they have the score sheets, Ken, and they'll line those cars back up the way they were running at the red and black flag 35 lap segment.
Certainly the scorers do know the situation, but I'll tell you what, Rodney Franklin, about lap number 25 in this race, really applied himself and took the lead. He had no trouble getting the lead and really